Hi, this is Jen Lipsey with this CEO with the ACLP, and this is the first of many of what I hope to be kind of touch base with a number of our members that are out there that have been in touch that are doing wonderful things in the community, both within the child life community, but also for the world in general. And so I want to introduce everyone. Obviously, you're probably known to many, Kia, but we've been speaking, or at least for now 40 minutes, about this generous offer that you've made to the community and to the broader public in terms of providing your curriculum, your expertise, your experience in providing child life virtually. And so we're happy to share that you're going to be doing your curriculum and you're offering your resources and your training with us through our learning management system coming shortly. So stay tuned for more on that. But Kia, I'm going to ask you to just kind of introduce yourself and your many roles that you have. So go ahead, take it away.
Yeah. Well, thanks for just hearing my narrative and my story. And I think that's what makes us all very unique and appreciated in every facet of child life. So I appreciate being here. So I'm Kia Ferrer, used to be Kia Bikert. I've been in child life for 10 years and before that, even as a volunteer and intern, and just kind of in the child life world for a while, all over Illinois, different units, and then just loved kind of that one-on-one, wanted to help the community and kind of give back, but also see all types of children and families and all type of illnesses and, just these kind of moments of adversity, which is why it's so relevant right now, that I'm doing it privately in the community. But, webinars and as much kind of information education as I can, to my own kind of network here in Chicago, Erickson Institute, Loyola University, a lot of institutions that are kind of saying, how are we adjusting our curriculum? How are we adjusting, academically? And then when things went online, and I'm a professor at University of Illinois, Chicago, and when things went online, I'm like, wait a minute, there's all these interventions that need to be virtualized. And I did this back in the day, presented about it at ACLP a while back with the technology team. And now that it's even more relevant, I'm like, wait, I have this skill set.
Yeah. Okay, Erickson and University of Illinois.
Chicago, yeah.
Thank you. They both just went virtual because of this most recent coronavirus reaction. So you were teaching traditional face-to-face and then very quickly had to go virtual.
Yeah. So at UIC, I teach there in the graduate program for social workers, we teach research methods, which is it's not the most favorite topic. So being in front of the classroom was really nice because it's interactive and so this Tele-ChildLife kind of was inspired from that. Like, how can I still teach, still teach methods and interventions, but then make it transferable, virtually and in a little box.
Yeah. So where are things now with your campuses, with your universities? Is it spring break, or are you doing all your classes? You're doing all your classes virtually now?
Yeah. Everything went virtual. So I'm in my last course in the doctoral program at Erickson Institute. That was live. That went online. So I have my own classes that I'm taking virtually that used to be lecture style. Yeah. And then the classes I teach are now virtual as well. So it's, trying to learn all these management systems and.
Yeah. So you are student, child life professional, professor, mom, community, provider, supporter.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. So what is it like in Chicago? When you look out your window, we were just talking about this earlier, about the state of, yes, it very much feels like an apocalypse in some areas. Can you talk about what it looks like for you in the Chicago area?
Yeah. I think, we are, Chicago is a, municipal, it's very big, and there's a lot of, neighborhoods that are kind of, segregated on their own. But now I think it's kind of, there's no one outside. I'm looking outside at a very empty street. There's a big park. There's no one there. Usually there's kids flying kites. It's kind of choosing, for everyone to organically come inward, right? Yeah. So not just look at what it is here in my own home, my community, but how am I represented in the community now that I'm not out on the street and we're all kind of quarantined inside. So,
Yeah.
so it's been, it's obviously a shift for the community, but I think it's a big shift for the community members. Like, who am I in this all? And I think it's kind of being, we're being tested. How do we deal with it ourselves? How do we child life ourselves?
Right. Well, I do think, and I've been obviously having these discussions within various people in the community about this does feel very much like a ripe time for child life. This is what child life specialists are used to in the work setting, at least, in terms of like a chaotic, ever-changing environment. You never know what you're going to see, how you're going to have to react, what's going to be asked of you, what resources you're going to have at your availability at that time, how to engage people creatively. So there's a really strong story to tell. And the association is looking into how can we engage the media or create PR around, what we have been branding and marketing as the emotional safety aspect of our members' work, in terms of there's so much patient safety going on and community safety. And while that's totally important and valuable and essential, let's not forget about the emotional well-being of all those involved. And, when you and I were talking earlier and you said you had just received a notice from your local police department about the 24/7 lockdown.
Oh, yeah, I didn't even mention that.
Yeah. I mean, the fact that people can't be out unless they are intentionally going to either walk the dog or to a medical appointment, to pharmacy, grocery store. And I know that that's the state for various other communities. I'm lucky in Virginia that that's not necessarily the case just yet. But the impact that has on the person and the people and the families and the neighbors and the community is significant. And I'm concerned about what that will look like on the end of this. I don't see how people are going to come out kind of unscathed or without need for support.
I'll worry about the ones that don't or think they don't,
Yes, exactly. Yeah, I went to the grocery store last week, I think, and walked out and felt this just kind of like sadness about there's something unnatural about being in space with others and having an inherent sense of danger, like assuming the worst, that person, could literally harm my health or myself. And that seems to be like the aura that surrounds people. And I know it's just the state of things right now, but there is just, it's just not a natural thing to be surrounded by for such a long period of time.
Yeah, it's surreal.
Yes, absolutely. So I'm happy to hear that there are members like you that are creating virtual support methods using child life intervention, using child life skills. And you've been doing it for years now with your own private practice. Can you talk more about what that looks like, what you'll be sharing with the webinar, what you're already sharing with those that have reached out to you because of your recent post in the forum offering your curriculum virtually?
Yeah. I feel like because I've been in private practice, I have the skill set that I've experienced, that I've the trials, the errors, with families, and I've gotten feedback, and I've been able to create this kind of Tele-ChildLife world in which, as a certified child life specialist, we're still doing the interventions within the code of conduct and ethical principles. We're adhering to that, but also, how can we do that same thing, but protect ourselves and make sure that we're protecting families and that we're still distributing our child life love, but just adapting it. Right. And so I just kind of figured what, for the child life specialists that got, are now furloughed, or now, a single parent like me stuck at home with my kids and, not being able to do home visits because of many different reasons. And just like what skill set can we all share with each other that is accessible, that anyone can watch, that anyone can do, that kind of glues us all together. And that's our intervention. So really it's not, Tele-ChildLife is not like a new skill set or a new, standard of care for child life. It's thinking of how to protect ourselves as accountable professionals, but also still be effective virtually. So that's how I came up with Tele-ChildLife. And I think that, after that post on the forum, like, hey, this is free education. This is the least I could do, especially for those that are at the front lines, the ones that are in the PICU that can't even touch their patient. And there's this it's a really hard kind of space to be distant from a patient where you're naturally supporting them, you're touching them, or you're sharing energy, you're seeing each other. And I think that it's a skill set to engage someone via computer virtually. And I've been doing it for years. So I just kind of extrapolated all the data that I've used over the years, and I put it down on a piece of paper and offered this. And I've met with some incredible people that are like, I didn't think of it. It's just a creative way to do interventions that I'm already doing. So I think it was just a little bit of empowerment.
Well, I love it. And I love that you are wholeheartedly wanting to provide it for free, just to provide access to everyone, regardless of status, privilege, area, etc. I love that. So we're happy to support that. We're so thankful that you've made that available and that you're willing to provide it free of, to the world.
There's so many trainings and programs in such a respectful field, child life, social work, a lot of mental health professions. And I think, the more accessible and free education we can provide, especially in times like this, it's thinking about the community, it's thinking about us as a whole, right?
Yes.
And I think providing something that is free of charge, being on the diversity task force, call out Dina and Rochelle, I think that free education is only going to kind of bump the minorities in the field a little bit. But it's also one of those things that everybody could use, right? So it's accessible to everyone, and that makes things equitable. I'm not saying it's going to be equal, but it's equitable that everybody has the chance to use it and they're not paying for it.
Yes. Well, I love that. Thank you so much. And I want to try and keep this as a little, because I can tend to go on and on and on. So I won't take up any more of your time. But before I stop recording, I just wonder if you have, it's been, I don't even know how long, 3 weeks for isolation and quarantine. Have you come up with some go-to self-care that you rely on a daily basis, a weekly basis? What does that look like for you?
I have 2 answers to that, because it's a common question, I think, in the community. The Facebook page has been great. Shout out to Caitlin, Cara, Tiffany, so many people that have really contributed to this Facebook page on their own time. Like there's child that are like, hey, I'm working with a patient, and then they come home and they, go through the pending posts, and they're all donating their time, and I'm a part of that. And it's been great. And we're representing California, New York, Florida. We're all over the place. Tiffany's in Mississippi, Caitlin's in Connecticut. And it's neat to say, hey, let's talk to our own community. Let's go on the page and then talk about how we're feeling. That has been one of the best things, that Facebook page. It came organically, and, Caitlin being able to connect everyone, but then she also takes care of it and is protective of it as well. Make sure it's, for the CCLS community. And then the second thing is I'm a horticulture therapist by trade. So any plants or anything, right? That's actually been a part of my therapeutic support for my children and families that are going through grief or going through a medical procedure. You can teach growth and life and different parts of the body, but a plant. And so I'm doing a lot of time with the kids and planting, but also using it virtually. And that way it's something that everyone looks forward to, it growing throughout the time that I spend with them. So I love my plants. I'm one of those garden folks. So I just bringing it in, and you're able to, Target or Amazon, you can buy little, lima beans and things like that. And
well, I'm going to have to learn a lot from you, because I can still kill a cactus or even a fake plant. It's total running joke, definitely, for anyone that knows me, is I can have a fake plant and the pot will break, and it's I can't even care for the fake plant. But I digress. I thank you so much for sharing a piece of your story in this moment where we are right now, and your generosity to your child life community and just beyond. I admire and deeply respect all your work and your various roles that you seem to juggle seamlessly, and yet still volunteer your time with us on the Diversity, Equity, Inclusion Task Force, creating webinars and content, speaking at our conferences. The association couldn't continue without volunteers like you and your colleagues. So just deeply grateful for your contributions to the profession, to the association. So thank you.
Thank you. There are plenty of child life specialists that have done that for me. Right. And it's just paying it forward. This is a generativity thing. I had incredible Robin Hart, Sorrel, people that the OGs that did this for me, and provided. Yeah. So I'm doing it for all the other generations as well. It's a pay it forward thing. But
well, it's a beautiful community to be part of, and definitely grateful for that community. Yeah. All right. Thank you.